Thank you very much.
And we want to listen to John Morris from
We do want to
Fire
listen. He came all the way over. from the
who
other side of
came
the
all the
pond.
way
Yeah.
over to visit.
It's
and
windy
meet
over
me
there.
And promote the book that we did together.
Yeah.
He has brought some of his artwork. He certainly brought his guitar. Those that were here early heard him sing.
And you
So
brought your
John,
easel.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And
Well,
all
I'm
that
going
stuff.
to get to that in a minute. But and one of my favourite teachers is a guy who's just passed away called Brennan Manning, and he always opens services in different ways. So one of the ways I want to start with is in the words of Brother Dominic when he met Francis of Assisi on the road to Umbria. Hi. Okay. Who I am? Well, I'm John Morris. John was yeah, I thought you might laugh
That
at
was
that.
nice.
Come along on Sunday, you'll hear another one as well. Because I mean, I won't give that one away. That's an encouragement to come along to the Good Samaritan Lutheran Church where we're preaching Sunday. Who I am? Yeah, John Morris. John Morris Art from the Heart.com is who we are to a degree. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're good. We're phenomenal. Okay? Now, like Ken was saying earlier on, would you believe me if I just sat here and just said, yeah, I'm phenomenal, I'm amazing? Well, I can tell you why we're phenomenal and amazing. And it doesn't start with me. It starts with each and every single one of you guys, each and every single person across the pond, everyone that helps us, such as Ken, Anna, and Cindy Freeland, and so many other authors as well. We get to do this, and I'm here because of people like this that have said, yeah, we want to take an investment, we want to work with you. What else do we do? Well, if I asked you to raise your hands if you think we're just an art business, raise your hands. Good. If you think I'm just, a preacher, or I'm just a guest speaker, and that's all I do, raise your hands. If you actually think that we reach every single week, anywhere, I don't know what I reach on your page, but certainly on our own Facebook page, we probably reach about 60,000 people that I know of, and probably another 120,000 people that I promote to every single week. Now, I get a lot of heat. And if you don't know what I mean by heat, basically I get a lot of telling off from different artists. Because they say to me, oh, well, you don't go to the galleries, you don't do the conventional way of artwork. I said, no, but I get my art in front of people. I mean, 200,000 people, that's pretty good every single week to be able to say, yeah, we get our work in front of these guys. I do it through Facebook. Facebook primarily is the #1 way I get in touch with people. And that's on sites like Facebook, and that is on stuff like the buy and sell sites. I go through every single one of them, and if you're one of my Facebook friends, which Anna's probably had this, you will get a notification on any day, probably 200 times, saying, John Morris posted on Facebook, ... site. John Morris posted on Southampton, Boston, America, New Zealand, over and over and over again. And we go out, I don't know how many countries we're in now, and how many people we help all over the world, because this is something else, that is part of the ministry that what we do, is people will come to me and say, oh, I really like your artwork. I say, oh, how are you doing today? I never talk about the artwork. I let them talk to me about the artwork. To a degree, sometimes I try and steer away from it, because I want to know them. And this is me, oh, your artwork's amazing, your artwork's lovely and everything else. I think, well, thank you. Well, how are you doing today? I want to know you. Oh, if you're talking to me, I want to know you. And they say, oh yeah, I'm kind of doing okay. Now don't ask me why, but I've been given this gift that I know when a person's not okay. And it usually starts with what they say. I'm okay, or I'm alright, usually means there's something going on, and I don't really want to talk about it. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's happening with you? It's like, well, I'm having problems at home, problems with boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, kids, financial situations. My mum's ill, I've been even sexually assaulted. The list goes on and on and on. You can name. And some of these people I met 30 seconds before, and they're telling me all this. And sometimes I sit there and I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But they do. And they tell you these things, and it's like, wow, we can actually help people by this. So people think these are the main things. No, these are just tools and toys that I use to reach people. And that's what happened. That's what happened with Anna. That's what happened with Ken. And I actually have another painting somewhere. It's not actually over here, but I've got a print with it here that I did for Ken and the Umbrella Syndicate. And we're busy chatting away, and I believe I'm your first international client, if I remember correctly. Yeah, which is a very cool thing to get to say as well. And So all this goes on, and as I say, you meet 200,000 people. Out of that, you probably get to talk to directly, personally, me. I get to talk to maybe 120 people every single week. Some days I just spend just chatting with people, and they talk to me, and they're like, well, I'm having problems, you know. And one of the things that I've had recently, and you know, if this offends anyone, I'm sorry, but it's a true story. Lady comes to me, she says, I'm having problems with my girlfriend. And I'm like, right, okay. And her instant reaction was, well, you're a preacher, you're a Christian preacher. Why are you not judging me? I said, well, because it's not my place to judge. You know, I leave that to God. That ain't up to me. But what I'm here to do is I'm here to talk to you and listen to you and help you through the situation. She messaged me the other night and she was like, you know, I thank God for you being in that place at that time, sharing your artwork and just listening to me and speaking to me and helping me through this time. That is what we do. We're a trifold company in terms of a business, a ministry, and a charity. And that is how all this comes together. It's very little about the paintings, it's even less so about me. Other thing, I'm just rolling here, I don't have a script or anything, so I'm just rolling as we speak. Other things that we do is the children's books. Now, you get some. This is by Cindy Freeland, and I picked this because this is one of my favourite covers that I ever got to do. The artist that did this was pretty cool, I have to say. You know, I think he's pretty awesome, and I mean, the pictures inside it, I mean, they look fantastic. You know, and you can check that out for yourself when the event's over. But I met Cindy about a year ago, and I had people saying to me, she's paying you this amount. And it was only a small amount because she's just building into these things. I had people say to me, you know, this is bad business. You know, you want to be making at least $600 a time from doing this. Had I not done that, I would not have met Anna. I would not have met Latoya Williams. I wouldn't have met any of you. I would not have met Amanda Albury. I wouldn't have met the guys out in Colorado who I'm currently illustrating for. And 7 books later, since November, I wouldn't have made a ton of cash either. And, you know, we look at that and you think, oh my gosh, right, you made a ton of cash. What we actually do with that, we use that to help other people as well. That's one of the other main things that we do. I'm going to say it anyway, 30% of what we make off the paintings, and sometimes off the prints, depending which you get, goes to charities that we work with. Various children's charities, various cancer charities, and we're part of this whole thing. I'm also a youth pastor, so some of the money goes towards the youth group to continue running them. So because in this day of economical change and everything else, they're not always able to finance a youth minister full time. You've got to make it up somewhere. You know, we do need money to live, there's no doubt about that. So what we do is I'm saying, right, I'll get the tuck shop stuff this week. I'll get the sweets and the crisps and whatever else you want. Fine, no one needs to know about it. Why? Simple, because that's what we do, and that comes back to who we are. And if I could give advice for anyone either starting out in business or anyone that's in business now, number one, get to know the people you're working with. So many people say, I think we can all attest to this, and I know we've had this conversation before, so many people today say, oh, will you buy this from me? You know, I suffer with colitis, and I had someone the other day saying, I can cure colitis for you for $35,000. Do you think I got $35,000 just sitting in my bank account? And he's like, yeah, but I can cure it for you. You can just put down payments on and whatever else. I'm like, for $35,000, I think I'd rather suffer. There's things that I do already to look after myself, to protect myself from that. But people sometimes, and he didn't want to know me, he just wanted 35 grand. And that was it. So that's the first thing, get to know your audience. The second thing is let them know you. Anyone that follows me on Facebook knows, basically, I am transparent. I let people know what I'm doing, where I am, most of the time. And I do that by that little thing, if you turn to your right, camera. It's actually filming now as I'm speaking to you guys. And it's been filming when we're in Colorado, in Nebraska. It's been filming while I've been traveling. Because I constantly keep going back to the audience and saying, look, this is what we're doing. I mean, you see photos of the top of Rocky Mountains and you're like, wow, you know, that's really cool. They live this journey through what I get to do. Now that to me is cool when they say, wow, we get lost in your work. We get lost in what you do. And I'm just like, that's incredible. I don't know of any other business organization around the globe that gets to do what we do. And it's such a privilege to do that. The paintings, people have said, we get lost in your paintings. You know, I could sit there and look at that all day. And it's true. I had a lady that messaged me. She was about to give birth, and literally, she's in, and she's just like to her husband, "I need you to send this message to John." Her husband was like, bought a painting from me a couple of weeks before. She actually had a natural childbirth after she'd had cesarean sections and she'd miscarried as well, and then messaged me and said, "This is incredible. I just got lost in your painting, and because of this, I had a natural childbirth." And I sat there, I thought, "You ribbing me or something?" Because I didn't expect this. We've had other people that was, again, like myself, battle addiction, and said, "We managed to get off addiction because of what you're painting." I said, "How the heck did you manage to do that?" She said to me, "I just sat there looking at your painting for 15 minutes in the morning." I said, "By that time, the addiction, the craving had gone." And that's, in case you're wondering, it takes about 15 minutes sometimes to get cravings out of your system, especially if they're very, very high. And she said, "I just sat there, and I just looked at this painting, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm mesmerized by the fishermen, the mountains, and everything else." And you can check all these out later on. And I didn't want to drink anymore. And there was some that said, "I didn't want to do drugs anymore." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." And she said, "I sit there listening to you, and it's so nice to hear a voice and put it to a face as well. Thank you for putting the videos together for us." And I sat there, and I literally took 25 minutes to sit there and think, I never realized the power that you can have in a painting and the power you can have in your words. Because words are severely powerful. The other way that I get in touch with people, I create stories. When I'm typing there on Facebook, you've got certain folders. Now, for anyone that does this on Facebook, you've certain folders, you put your paintings in, you put your photos in, and you can just type bump, or something, or a notification, and it comes back into the news feed. Whenever I say this to people, they look blank at me. Well, what do you mean they type bump? You type B-U-M-P, and it comes back into the news feed. Well, I don't. I take a photograph of something like that. I've got the sketches of the dogs over there. I write a story about it. This one in particular sold because of the story. This one, John Denver, it's called Sweet Surrender. I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I painted this painting, I called it Sweet Surrender because I was listening to the song, and this is the image that it created in my mind. And they're like, wow, I like John Denver. I associate his music with my painting. Boom, gone. This thing, again, this is the original. But so many prints of this have sold. This one is our most popular painting for the simple reason it's called the Red Blossom Tree. What's the first thing that stands out to you? Anyone? The red tree. Right. Now, if I told you that symbolizes people's lives, a lot of people, and I never realized, when I painted this a couple of years ago, I never realized how successful this would be. People have come to me and said, I've always felt I stood out. I always felt I was different. I always felt like a flower among thorns. And I stopped, and I suddenly looked, and I thought, this is incredible. This is actually the third one of the third reproduction of this painting. It's actually sold. Again, one is going to Dallas, one is going up to Aberdeen in Scotland, and this is the third incarnation of it. And each time it gets a little bit different because I don't want to reproduce it and just make it, you know, something I want to make it unique for people when they have it. But they messaged me and they said, you know, that reminds me of my life. I've stood out, I've always felt that there was something different. I didn't fit into the mold. And they were like, I really like that. So prints, paintings, bookmarks, cups, coasters, placemats, you name it. People are like, I want this in my home. I had someone I did this for a couple of weeks ago that received it. And hey, this is another lesson in business. You're not always going to be, in quote, out quote, successful. This lady messaged me. I'd shown her the painting and she was like, yeah, I love it. It's amazing. It's wonderful. And she lives in Chicago. So again, another international client. She got it and she said, I can't believe I bought this from you. I just hate it. It's horrible. Blah, 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 blah. And I sat there and I thought, what? You loved it 1 minute and then you did it another. Well, she started talking to me. And I very suddenly realized that the issue wasn't with the painting. The issue was actually she was filled with bitterness. And that's what happened. And another lesson for you, sometimes people will cause trouble in your business. And I don't know about yourself, Ken, but certainly for me in this line of work, there's times when I go through and they're like, yeah, we want to give you an extra $50. I'm like, I'm okay with that, thank you. And that's good. There's sometimes when people say, I absolutely hate the work you've done for me. And you sit there and you think, right, what do I do now? Because I mean, when you paint, it's something of your spirit that goes into it. It's something of you that goes into it. And for a long time, I used to take that personally. And I would sit there and I would be in tears and I'd be like, oh my goodness, they don't like the painting, they're wanting the money back and everything else. And I got to work it through with the customer. 9 times out of 10, I was able to write, what don't you like about this painting? What can I change about this painting? Mainly because I don't want to give $140 back, you know, and sometimes more than that, and that's the truth. I'm thinking, okay, you've paid for this, the money's gone to the youth group or to charities or whatever else, some of it's gone into my account to continue what we're doing. What can I do to work this through with you? And a lot of the times, sometimes they just want a signed print. I used to be a natural bodybuilder as well, so I say, right, and sometimes you can smooze people with this. I say, I'll send you a signed print, not a problem. I'm like, oh wow, you're going to do something for me? I was like, yeah, I'll do something for you. I get to keep $140, I'll do stuff for you. And they were like, yeah, wow, so you sign this print, you get a message back, wow, that's incredible, I've never had anyone do that for me. All of a sudden, like, they forget about the problem with the painting, if there ever was one, and they're like, wow, you know, I really enjoy what you do. So there's some tips for you, that actually you can work things through, and it doesn't need to be a case of, oh my goodness, I need to give them back a refund, I need to give them back 50 grand, I need to give them this back. You work through everything. The refund is the last step, the last straw. And I always say this, if I have to give someone a refund, it's because I did something wrong. And I couldn't work it through with the audience, or with the client, or with the friend, as I call them. And there are times when it doesn't happen. And they're like, oh, we still don't like what you've done. That's life. You know, some people you are not going to make happy, no matter what you do. They're not going to like what you do. That's fine. I've had people tell me before, and this is quoted, I hate your work, go and drop dead. People will be brutal with you. People will be absolutely brutal. You're no artist at all, you're pathetic, you're miserable, blah, 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 blah. At one stage when I was learning how to deal with customers, and I don't advise anyone to do this, this is the woman that said, your work is terrible, and she used expletives as well, go and drop dead. My response was, well, that's not what my bank account says. And as soon as I said it, I was like, oh no. Kathy Stutz, who is in Michigan, she's a business coach, and for anyone that knows Kathy, I talked these things through with Kathy afterwards, and she was like, what should you have said? I'm like, I don't know, but I shouldn't have said that. But at the end of the day, you learn from your mistakes. And that's how we get to this point. So to share, I know, I'm not going to talk for forever and ever and ever. You did fine. You did fine. You was good. But to share a little bit about me, I grew up in England, and in a very rural place. It was actually a place called Milnesbridge, because that's where they had all the mills, and all the mining went, and it was a very, very dusty and sooty town. Was raised there, and I don't really know how to describe it. It's a very strange place now looking back. But I'll go right back. When I was a teenager, I got involved with addiction. I got involved with some bad things and some dumb things that I really shouldn't have done. That's another way that I integrate with children as well, and I speak to the kids these days and actually tell them the dangers of it. And thanks be to God, that when I was, I think, 13 or 14 years old, that I took a big change, and there was a number of spiritual changes in my own life that took place. And I got involved with bodybuilding and with weightlifting, and did it all naturally. None of this steroids and none of the junk that's there, and began promoting. At a young age, I liked the idea of networking people, chatting with people. That's what I did. So originally, we had the Natural Physique Association, who I used to promote. We had different organizations that I worked with, and we ended up with 7 different ones. Now, for a teenager, that's pretty cool. To get all these different people saying, we want to take your photograph, we want to work with you, we want to do this with you. I'm thinking, okay, this is good. Some of it want to do for free. That's fine. I get a free photo shoot. Some of it worth a couple $1,000. Yeah, go ahead. I don't mind people taking my photo and do it for free. As I began competing and training and going more and more into the bodybuilding field and the media field, I found very quickly that it wasn't going to be sustainable because my health took such a toll, and that's where the colitis started to develop more and more. So in about 2009, I think it was, a friend of mine and we just decided, I need to finish this, and I did. And I was sad leaving that, but Leamington Spa was going to be my final event. It was down in Coventry, which is a beautiful place. If you ever get to go to England, I recommend you check that out, especially Leamington Spa. And I remember walking through the bowels of the buildings, and you had certain acts that had been there, like Elton John, Queen, Bob Marley, and some of the others. I'm thinking, this is pretty cool. I'm 19 years old at this point, and I'm like, we get to add our status as well to these guys, and because we're in this same thing, and the deluded thoughts that go through your head, it's like we get to be on the same stage that they were. This is awesome. And in front of 2,000 people going out there posing to Sweet Child of Mine with Guns N' Roses, and hearing them erupt, I was like, wow. My friend that night then messaged me and said, I really think something's going to happen to you that's going to fulfill you, and that's going to fulfill that void. I'm thinking, 2,000 people, a ton of promoting, audiences cheering for you, it's going to have to be something pretty big. I rest my case. Got involved with painting, and I was just like, yeah, I kind of like doing this. I was out of work at the time when I started painting. I started doodling. It went on from there. All this, and as you can see, I was doodling before you guys came in. I got kind of bored at one point, and was just like, yeah, I got a few minutes, I'm going to start doodling. I do that at times. But that was the wonderful joy about it, was I just sat there and I started painting. And some of these pictures that came out, and again, one of the first ones, which isn't with me tonight, but you can check out on our website, is called Country Roads. Again, another John Denver song. He's played such an important part in my life and influenced me incredibly. So the music, as Ken was saying, the books that you listen to, but for me as an artist, also the music that you listen to, the things that you see, really, really influence the work that you do. And so to continue it a little bit, so I'm painting away, and all these different things change. I get involved with youth work at our local church. They say to me, we want to send you on a gap year. Originally, they want to send me to Manchester, which is, if you don't know where Manchester is, it's pretty much central in the country. The place where I was staying at wasn't particularly nice, and I felt very much in my spirit, I was like, I'm not meant to be here. I shouldn't be here. They said, oh yeah, well, we've got the perfect place for you. And I was like, oh no, that's what you said about Manchester. The other night, a guy got stabbed in our back garden. I don't want to go to Manchester. They said in Scotland. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. Went up to Scotland, and the rest is history, as they say. I got involved with youth work up there. I've been up there now for 4 years. And each week we get a group of about 25 young folk and about 15 teenagers that come along, that see this kind of stuff, that get the message that they're actually special, that they're unique, that there's something that they can do. And they always say to me, no, I can't do that kind of thing, I can't do that thing. I got by the wrist, sit down, give me 5 minutes. I can prove to you that you can do something special. People say to me, oh my goodness, it's incredible what you do, it's just wonderful, it's amazing. You know why it's wonderful and amazing? Because I know the secrets. Because I studied it with Bob Ross. Any fool can do this. I am not, believe it or not, I am not a genius. I do not have this brain inside me that's just like, yeah, mathematically sound and wonderfully gifted. But I just look at it and I think, I want to paint a landscape today. And it happens. It just comes out of my imagination. I don't necessarily paint from photos. All of this stuff is from my imagination, which is kind of scary at times. Sometimes you get things that you're like, whoa, this is pretty freaky. But it's good, and it resonates with people. It comes back to know the people. To sum up, and just to close this part of the story, because I could tell you tons, and if you have questions, again, please ask me. This all happened, and this work is more recent than anything else. I mean, this one's fairly fresh, as you know. It's literally maybe an hour and a half old. This one of Sweet Surrender is probably the oldest one that I've got here. I got involved with book illustrating when I met Cindy, and I decided to take that leap of faith and say, okay, it's not about the money, it's about what can we do. And we illustrated our first book, which is Lingering Around Somewhere, Pond Life Adventures with Chippy. She then introduces me, I think it's over here somewhere, she then introduces me to Anna, who then introduces me to Amanda, and boom, 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 on and on and on, who introduces me to my good friend over here. And all these different contacts came from necessarily one stream. It came from Facebook. It came from using that. It came from chatting with people, but actually saying it's not about the money, because I ain't a millionaire, I'm not a billionaire, I'm not a trillionaire, I'm no even close. If we get the first grand in the bank, sometimes it's good after this trip. How I'm able to do these kind of things? Because of people that help. People that say, I will take you into my home. I will look after you for 3 weeks. You may drive me crazy, but I will look after you. That's why Anna sometimes is just like, I need a nap. I'm just going to bed. It's good. But those kind of things, and it's important because those things happen. I had a lady, actually.
He's living in my apartment.
Yeah, and it's very nice, I have to say, and we get along brilliant. We're so similar, it is unreal. But I had a lady, I'd only just met her maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and she's heard about the trip, she heard about what we were doing. She said to me, I want to buy plane tickets for you. What? I want to buy plane tickets from you from Omaha, Nebraska to Maryland.